Well, hello everyone, Dylan here. Happy Throwback Thursday, and the rotation leads us to a Star Wars review, and this one's on the TIE Advanced Prototype and the T-16 Skyhopper from 2015. So on the front of the box, or front of the manuals, we have the Lego Star Wars logos and same border which all the sets at this time had, and then picture of the set that there is, and set number, and down the corner Disney logo, and on the TIE Advanced Prototype one, the Star Wars Rebels logo, indicating that's from Star Wars Rebels, of course. Also, how to put it together with, or a comic strip with the minifig style, which started out the year prior and carried on to this one year beta. And on the back, how to win on the online survey, advertisement of the website at the time, and advertisement of all the other sets of this wave, of course. And then out of all the minifigs included in each set, then the pieces that come with the set, of course, which is 2 pages, and the last building steps. And now on to the minifigs. So first off, for the TIE Advanced Prototype is a TIE Fighter pilot, but most likely updated for the Star Wars Rebels styling, but obviously with good torso print and helmet print with good print, or helmet piece with some good print to it, and wielding a small blaster, of course, and underneath of which the annoying angry clone face, and on the backside a little gap between on the back helmet part, which like we oftentimes see on most TIE Fighter pilots, and also some slight back torso printing as well, and that's about it there. And next to which is some Imperial officer, but in this dark tan color, in dark tan, also for the hat, and which is mainly for this kind of styling of it. Not sure why they went with a dark tan for the Rebel styling, or Rebel sets, but whatever. But however, the torso print, quite good, and also just about like other Imperial officers, and also a nice face printing, and also a small blaster there, and also nice seeing that hat piece in dark tan, and also with slight printings on it, and then on the backside, slight back torso printing as well, but otherwise, at least kind of something to add a little extra variety to your Imperial armies. And onto the main incentive to get this set, the only exclusive fig, well, exclusive for the time, which is the Inquisitor, which has not 1, not 2, but 3 new specific pieces to that. Well, new at the time, that is, like obviously his lightsaber hilt piece that holds 2 of the bars onto it, and also does have this armor piece of which, but however, or upper armor piece with some good printing to it, but however, both pieces were also used on the other Inquisitor figs, but from the Obi-Wan show in 2022, so at least good that they returned at that point. But however, the helmet piece of which is only thing exclusive to this one of it. Where interesting thing is, also it does have a clear red visor piece in it, which is quite neat for how it is, which we also got to see on the X-Wing pilots in the sequel trilogy, like later in this year and the few years after. And then as for the face printing of which, quite neat for how it is, and also does have, and also well fitting to him, and also the eyes of which, just about like the early Darth Maul minifigs quite did, which I feel if he were done nowadays, he'd probably have regular eye, or regular minifig eyes like he did in the 2022 Inquisitor Scythe. And then on the back side of him, do have a slight back torso printing, and also a little clip piece in order to fit the lightsaber on, like so, which like that. And that's about it with the minifigs include with TIE Advance Prototype. And now on to TIE Advance on to T-16 Skyhopper for a set, which starting with the T-16 Skyhopper pilot, of course. Which, however, with quite good torso printing and not only leg printing, but that's alright. And of course, holding small blaster and helmet piece, which just about like on most Rebel pilots that there are, but with some interesting printing to it, and the face printing also kind of like that of other Rebel pilots that there are. Now on the backside, which slight back torso printing as well, and then backside, which is quite unique double-sided face. And also good update from the 2003 version of the T-16 Skyhopper set. And lastly, we have a Tusken Raider, well, newer style kind of one, which first time of having since 2003. Well, whereas on that version has regular headpiece or minifig headpiece, but now this one a specific shaped headpiece, which captures it really good for how it is, and really good capturing the appearance, that is. And of course this which headpiece did get carried on into a few other sets afterwards. And however, the torso print, leg printing, all really good for how it is. And the build for the gaffy stick, I say, also quite well for how it is. And also quite nice back torso printing as well. But yeah. And puzzling thing with this T-16 Skyhopper's minifig selection is the large lack of a Luke Skywalker minifig. Since obviously fitting to that of episode 4 would be nice if he were here. But yeah, whatever. And that's about it there. And next to which is the classic Lego rack piece. Okay, so lastly we have the classic Lego rack piece, which has been used for a long time, but obviously for this set probably to represent a Womp Rat. And that's it with the minifig selection and also accessory. So now on to the sets. So first of which is the TIE Advance Prototype, which from first glance quite different than a regular TIE Advance, but obviously with prototype in the title, which, so word to keep in mind for this video, prototype, which if you're unsure of what that is, which means like a first draft, first version of something, and this which shortly before adding in the black wings to it and everything, and also longer wings to it. But yeah. So otherwise have to base it off of the source materials. So I think they did quite well here. So now as for this like center point area, which has like one new piece used in different types, being these two kind of pieces here, one for the like front windscreen and for the canopy for that. But obviously it's the same piece in different colors and different prints to it. And although this front one of which was used on a lot of other TIE Fighter sets over the years, or a few years after this. And also you can like flip right open and flip this one right open, and then fold that droid body piece or bow droid body piece underneath it, and also can obviously, the most important part is fit any minifig into it. So although kind of a snug fit, or kind of snug and tight fit for how it is, but yeah. But also, I think there should have been little extra stickers on these slope pieces to be like the extra controls. But yeah, although this one is probably the main control for it, and closes over quite well. And also, as you can see, most does have a lot of angling to it, with like curved slopes around it and a couple of vent pieces in there, and also on top of which, quite neat for how it is. And then same with on the back side of it, but a little flat for how it is. And of course the wedge plates, also like a regular TIE Advance would wear or would have. and then also some tile pieces with stickers on them and other wedge plates there. And also do have these two other wedge plates here acting as this kind of nugget part, but that's for a feature. So basically just by turning on it, and does have sprinkler launchers onto there. So if you like turn on that and launches them right off. So this feature just about like that of Major Von Reg's TIE Fighter or set from 2019 with a similar feature to that. So at least need to see that used for a different ship here. And then as for the wings here, which obviously do have a couple more large wedge plates on the sides of it and some curved slopes around and the sides parts of which does have this little tile piece, just about like most other TIE Fighter sets at this time, or carried on till now, that is. And also large plates around it, and also a couple of stickered ones in the far back, of course. And these wings, which I tend to like flap right open for how they are. And of course, quite neat for how it is. And in terms of standing, I say stands quite well, unless if you tap on it and might make the wing kind of flap right in. But although on mine of which it's kind of extra stiff, maybe just due to age or whatever. Although I'm sure, or unless if you had ones that were quite loose and would collapse in on itself, but yeah. Yes, and that's about it with the TIE Advance prototype. Now onto the T-16 Skyhopper. So for the T-16 Skyhopper, obviously first time remade since 2003. Well, first and only time ever remade. But however, major upgrade from the 2003 version for that. And also, what's kind of neat for how it is, where the sizing of it, which was $25 at the time, but the TIE Advance prototype was $40. So a lot taller for how it is, quite well, obviously because of different orientation of pieces, but yeah. And now on to some of the looks of it. So first of which, you have this little assembly on the bottom part, which has a couple of cylinder bricks there and a couple of wedge plates underneath and a wheel piece is leading out to this cannon in the front. And then as for the rest of which is just a few jagged slopes and by one bricks underneath it, just all like that. And then also with a couple of hinge bricks or plates onto there, holding the large wedge plates acting as the wings, saying a couple tiles underneath it. And they kind of flap up and down a little bit. And also one little feature to it. And also carried on from the year prior and carried on to today is sprinkler launcher, where you tap on that and launches right off, like so. Hang on. Okay. And as for the main body kind of part to it, which does have some quite good shaping to it, like with the slope or jagged slopes around, and also these little flap parts used for the windshields, which they're just the same kind of flap piece used on the Jedi Interceptors, but now in translucent, well, with a little sticker onto it, but luckily if you didn't put the stickers onto it, they can definitely use it as wings or panels or whatever in mocks if you wanted. And also on the sides of which are a couple large tiles or plates on the side, and one of which with an interesting sticker to it, and can obviously like fold it right open and like that. And what's kind of funny with this set is that both sides are on the same kind of connection point for how that is, which kind of funny. But yeah, and also inside just enough space to fit your pilot minifig in too. And then also a jagged slope or cheese slope piece with a couple controls onto it, and then the far back space of which quite a little bit vacant, but also a little crate on here that you can take out, and then obviously nothing in it, but you can also store the blaster into there like we would see in some sets. and closes quite well. But also, one little flaw with this part of which is that there's a little open gap for how that is, which if it flew up into space and was not wearing a spacesuit, then would most likely suffocate quickly. So if this set were made now, I would expect there to be some extra pieces like cheat slopes on the sides to fill in that gap. Yeah. And then on to the top wing part, which is just about 1 stud thick, and also does have a few technic, what do they call, beams inwards, just about like most Imperial shuttles tend to have, which makes it a nice holding point of the set, and only snot of which is just with 2 studs on both sides, and a single red stripe in the center, and then ending off. See, so quite nice for how it is, where there's little technic assembly into it, and if you tap on it, not breaking apart quite easily. And for the back side of which is completely quite plain for how it is, like one big plate or big white plate with a blue stud and a trans pink dish piece acting as the thrusting point of it, which I think instead, or if this set were made now, I would expect there to be some little extra greepling added onto it, and or just a couple extra wheel-like pieces to act as the back engine of it. And yeah, well, maybe that could be on another version of it, but yeah. So as compared to the original 2003 version, which major upgrade for how it is, like not at all any window paneling when this new later one kind of does, and then the wings of which are quite different, where there is a pole piece to be a blaster when the new one just doesn't have it all, but it had spring-loaded launchers to it, and then the build underneath, which very few pieces, and a lance piece being the blaster underneath, but this one just a lot of more pieces is to it, and also same symbol on both of them, but one's on a slope and one's a sticker to that. And also this one, which can fold right open, and then there's extra space to store stuff into. But, and of course, similar to this one, but it's in a crate for how it is. And the back part of which, sort of the same kind of piece scenario, but just in trans red rather than pink, trans pink. But yeah, and also the top wing part, which just long slopes and with stickers on, but this switch multiple other slopes and other bricks and panels for that. So this switch, which if I tap on it, then it would just break right off easily, but this one not at all like that. So good major improvement over that. So if there did get to be another version of it, I expect it to be just about like this, but with slight more mods to it. But yeah. And now, on to the final verdict. So for my overall verdict, I think these of which are really good sets, like with good size for price of which, and also both of which good selection of minifigs for how they are. Whereas for the T-16 Skyhopper, I think it could have had a Luke Skywalker, or at least Greedo, or whatever else was well fitting, if it was fitting to the theme of Episode 4, A New Hope, but whatever. Or maybe an extra a Tusken Raider also would have been as fair, or a Sam Trooper, or whatever. But for T-16 Sky, or the TIE Advanced prototype of which for the size of which, kind of lacking for how it is, or although a similar kind of sizing to like most later $40 sets, like the Imperial Marauder and or Moloch's Landspeeder, or especially in recent times, or also in the same year as this one, the First Order Snowspeeder, which had quite a bit of bulk to it, but however, even though this was a little bit lacking for that, but also still quite good for $40, and of course a little unique TIE fighter to add into your TIE collection or Imperial armies. But yeah, but also but obviously the main drop was the Inquisitor for that. Although not sure why it could have been included in other sets, but whatever. But however, this switch a good set to pair along with the with the Ghost and Phantom, since obviously including one of the main villains of Star Wars Rebels being the Inquisitor, of course. But now, if both sets were made nowadays, I would expect them to be just about as good as both of these. But maybe with a little more to the T-16 Skyhopper, but yeah. And maybe also a new specific piece for a Womp Rat. Well, if they ever do so, but yeah. So these are which a kind of a sign of the times where got something like decently sized for a good price, but yeah. Even though nowadays they might be worth quite a bit more. And also the playability on both of them quite good for how they are, like the spring-loaded launchers, and also being able to fit pilots in quite well, and the extending wings on the TIE Advance prototype. So there. And now, if any of you still have these sets from back in the day, well, I hope you had some good memories of them. And for those of you who haven't and are still looking to get these sets, I say definitely pick them up. eBay, Bricklink, Mercari, Bricks and Minifigs, whatever. And that's about it with this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.